much later. So when I was doing civil engineering, I was not sure that I want to come to aerospace engineering. I was just making, figuring out things like whether I want to do a job in industry, whether I want to do higher study or not. But then after 1 year of experience in industry, I figured out that I want to do something else apart from in a broader aspect of civil engineering. I mean, apart from civil engineering, I want to do something which has more futuristic application and attracts me more. And then it was decided that I want to come to aerospace engineering. But as a whole, my experience in JU taught me the fundamentals. I learned those fundamental blocks which helped me to begin my academic career. I mean, and especially aerospace engineering, as I said, was decided much later.
Okay, Dada. We are also feeling regret that we could not start this meeting at that time when you were present in India, but still we
Oh,
somehow managed to do it in online.
sure.
So, so our audience will be also getting motivated from your journey from Jadavpur University to the University of Birmingham as an aerospace engineering professor. So, Dada, what inspired you to transition from civil engineering to aerospace engineering? I guess many of our batchmates from civil engineering department has asked this same question.
Yeah, I think that is something I should tell from the beginning, that like, um, being from a small town like Midnapur, I and being the first generation engineering student or engineer from my family. When I started my engineering journey, I was not very much sure about what to do, what to study in different branches of engineering, apart from some suggestions, and more rather than suggestions, more rumors, such as that time it was recession. If you study computer science, you can't get a job. You should study core engineering to get a job, etc., which did not have much sense, which we understood later on. But at that time, when I was a high school student, I really didn't have much experience. So um, so when I got a good rank, good enough to get into JU, that was my decision to come into Jadavpur University, because it was like a dream. When I was studying in high school, we prepared for engineering, keeping Jadavpur as the benchmark, that we need to come to Jadavpur University. So I got computer science in Sipur and other branches, but I chose to come to civil in Jadavpur University, not for civil engineering, but for Jadavpur University. So that was my first and goal. Now, after coming to Jadavpur University, I got civil engineering. It was a core branch, and I was happy. But as I said, honestly, I had no idea, what I am going to study, where I was going to do job after civil, etc. But throughout my first years of engineering, because I came from a family of need, so I was very much determined to get a job, and I specifically came to engineering to get a job, that after 4 years I can get a job, and then I can work in the industry as an engineer and I can earn. But then as I proceeded through engineering, I mean, year after year, I developed my interest towards research. And it started from first year of summer research. So we, not only me, we were a bunch of friends from civil who were interested in fluid mechanics. So we went to a few professors from to mechanical engineering to do some very simple research project, but we had no idea what is research at that point of time. But we did couple of projects which may or may not have made a lot of contribution in our career, but which basically slowly developed into us the feeling that we want to do higher study, we want to do research. So that's what I can say. After that, I have done many other projects even in civil engineering with my own professors in civil engineering. They were not of fluid mechanics, they were of different aspects of civil engineering. But then again, uh, I do not consider myself to be the most aware student at that point of time. I was not very much aware what should I focus on to do higher study, etc. As I said, mostly in my earlier years, I was focused on getting a job. But again, I had a mixed feeling. As I was learning different subject, I was more and more interested towards research, doing different research projects. But at the end of the day, like, it only gave me the feeling that I want to do research. So when I graduated from Jadavpur University from civil engineering, I actually didn't know much about fluid mechanics, because our civil engineering curriculum focuses more and more maximum hydraulics, but more and more structural mechanics and design. And I was very good at that, being the topper of my batch. And I got a job in MN Dastur, which was the first company that came to recruit us. So I got a job, and then of course, I mean, I was secured that I got a job, but in my mind, I was like determined that okay, after 1 year, maybe I would apply to US for PhD or do something else, or I want to go for higher study. But for many different reasons, I chose to not to go to US or not to apply to US, and but to do my higher study in India. So while I was working in MN Dastur, I decided that, like, the conventional design job was not my cup of tea, as because, like, I learned what to do for the design job within 3 months. Then of course, slowly I was getting bored, in the sense that, I mean, most of the industries that exist in India, while working in that, you will find the thing that in conventional industry, there is very less scope and research and development unless you go to a particular role of R&D department of any company, where we have to deliver projects to the clients. And most of the projects, like civil engineering projects, I was working in the design of raw material handling system, with a project of Tata Steel and Alkarian Steel Company in Abu Dhabi. So I was designing big structures, big foundations, and it was quite exciting. I had very good seniors who were helping us, and like, you could see for the first time that whatever you did pen and paper in your sessional projects of your um, courses in JU, you could see those getting constructed at the site. So all those things were very exciting. I'm not demeaning any part of industrial experience, but as a person, being personally, I felt that the design that I needed to do, 6 months was enough for me, to learn those basic things to deliver. And then I wanted to go beyond that, which was not very easy within a company, because the company has to deliver projects to the clients and at a high rate. So where every day, every couple of days, we have to release drawings for a big foundation for a
Yes.
new steel plant. It was very difficult, to do research on it, rather than the company is interested in you to know the basics, do the design correctly, and deliver the project. All right, so there was like a lot of pressure. So personally, I felt that I was too young to, to settle into those kind of jobs for next 30 to 40 years. So I was not wanting to settle at that point, and I wanted to do some more venture out to some more unknown things or unknown areas which would excite me more. So at that point, I decided to branch out from civil engineering to aerospace engineering. And that happened, actually, that would not have happened without my PhD advisors, who happened to be alumni of Jadavpur Civil Engineering in IIT Madras. So I connected with them at some point, and we discussed about my PhD project and what I could do in aerospace engineering and fluid mechanics. So I discussed with Professor Sain Gupta and Professor Sunetra Sarkar in IIT Madras, and then somehow I got very much, interested in this project, which was on flapping wing aerodynamics and how to design micro aerial vehicles, which was very futuristic, based on natural flyers like dragonflies. So I thought that it's quite futuristic, exciting, and something very new, which I don't know about, but I'm excited to learn. So I just took a deep dive into an unknown path. And to do that, I mean, I left many, many well established career options, higher study options, such as PhD in Gandhinagar, MSc research in ISC, etc. So all those civil engineering options I had, but then I chose to, to go to an unknown path because I thought that that will excite me more. But it was not an easy option because, as I said, when I graduated from Jadavpur University, I knew very little about fluid mechanics because our curriculum didn't have that deeper knowledge of fluid mechanics. So I really had to do 14 courses in IIT during my master's and PhD to learn fluid mechanics from scratch. And then I did my PhD. So it was not an easy path, and the courses in IIT, really we had to break our head. But it's kind of your own wish. So I had to only do 8 courses because I was enrolled in a initially I got admission in a direct PhD program in IIT Madras because I was topper of my batch. But then I decided to convert into masters and PhD, and I needed to do 8 courses, credit 8 courses to complete my degree, but I did 14 just to learn different subjects from scratch, such as I did courses from physics department, I did courses from mathematics department. And you have that option in IIT that you can, do courses from any department. If you are
Yes.
interested in economics, you can go to humanities and do a course on economics. So that was the real beginning of my journey as a fluid mechanics researcher or aerospace engineering, which started in IIT Madras. So just to cut the story short, in JU I was not an aerospace engineer. I graduated as a civil engineer. I did work in an industry as a civil engineer for 1 year, and then chose to branch out to aerospace engineering.
So, Dada, that was a really, I mean, from a small town to JU, and from JU to Birmingham University, and the branch out. It's really a very gutful and exciting journey, which will motivate us surely. So,
Yes, I
uh,
mean, my advice is that when you are completing in any degree program in JU, that the only good thing that I mean, the common thing we get in every department, that we get very good training of fundamentals. Like if I am in mechanical or civil, it doesn't really matter. I learned mechanics, and I learned mechanics from professors of mechanical engineer like Professor Devabroto Nag or Vijit Chando, who taught us mechanics from our first semesters. So basically, it really doesn't matter in which department you are. Then I learned structural mechanics. I learned structural dynamics from our civil engineering professors. I learned design. So those are the basic things which you need in any engineering project. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, those knowledge are not waste after my 1 year of job. Those knowledge are the fundamentals based on which I built up my aerospace engineering knowledge. And I still have those class notes of JU in somewhere, which basically taught me the basic fundamental mechanics.
Professor Devabrata Nath also had took our class of engineering dynamics in second year first sem. So it's quite nostalgic. So, Dada, can you share the challenges you faced and overcome in your academic and professional journey? Uh,
I mean, of course, there are many challenges everywhere, but every challenge gives you a new path to a new opportunity. As I said, I mean, I didn't know fluid mechanics much, but I chose to take my career path in fluid mechanics, right? So the first challenge was to doing those courses from scratch after your bachelor's in IIT, sitting with undergrads there. So I took course with undergrads, I mean, which were common to all of us. Then the challenges were to do hardcore coursework to build my fundamentals in mathematics and physics. I did courses on nonlinear dynamics from physics, courses on linear algebra from hardcore mathematics. So those were like really very different courses. Even the courses we had in engineering in IIT, so they were more theoretical, and so it was a challenge at that point of time. Then of course, when I learned that there were challenges in PhD. So if you don't want to take challenge, don't do PhD, because PhD is every step you have challenge, right? The first challenge was financial challenge. I mean, I could have joined the job, and then of course in India, job. I mean, if you get promotion, if you shift job, your salary increases everything. But in your PhD, you don't have that option, and it's a long term commitment. So doing masters and PhD from India was another biggest challenge that I took, right? So when I was working in Dastur, I was getting as a GET very small amount of salary. I think in hand I was getting something like 23,000 rupees, something around that. And then when I went to do PhD, that time our stipend was 16,000 rupees. So leaving a steady job, and although it's a small salary, but I was living in Kolkata, so it was okay. Then going to PhD with a smaller stipend was a big challenge and big decision that I needed to take that point of time, because I had to support my family, etc. So that was a big financial challenge. Of course, if some of you are wanting to take up the path of PhD in India, nowadays it's becoming easier, because there are the salary or the stipend of PhD has increased. I think it's around 40,000 now, but when we did,
Yes.
it started in 16,000. And now you have, I mean, if you are really dedicated and want to do a very challenging project, you have option of Prime Minister Research Fellowship, which gives you around 75,000 rupees in IITs if you get selected. Those opportunities were not there at our time, so it was a big challenge. And then the next challenge was the uncertain journey of PhD, which is still there everywhere globally. If you do PhD in India, US, or UK, or wherever, PhD itself is an uncertain journey, because you are doing research, means you are researching something, you are in the quest of finding something novel which people don't know, or you want to really establish a new insight in a physical system. So these are all uncertain, because you never know when you will get that truth, and you will achieve the objective of your PhD. So particularly in India, it may take 4 years, it may take 5 years, it may take 6 years, it may take even more. So this is a path of unknown, right? And so that's an uncertain part. As you will go and get matured in your PhD, the uncertainty will increase, that when will I graduate. So that question again and again will come to your mind. And then the next uncertainty in this academic path is, what will I do after that? Will I again go to an industry job? Will I do a postdoc? Then if I want to do postdoc, where will I get the postdoc opportunity? And then if I want to come to academia, where will I get it? What level of ambition I have, etc. So I mean, you need to have the perseverance to go through all these steps. But if you want to be in academia, you have to have this mindset to overcome it, and you have to be patient. So at the end of the day, you will you will get to the point you want to. You have to be ambitious and stay calm, which is very difficult. I was not very calm towards the end of my PhD. I was very anxious and things like that. And I used to go and ask my advisors, well, I mean, what will happen to me, right? I mean, what will I do after this? Will I get a postdoc or something like that? So they always advised me that be patient, stay calm, and just do your best in your research. Ultimately, everything will fall in place.
So we can learn that consistency is the key, because I think it is, and also Dada confirmed it that doing PhD is not a cup of tea. You have to focus more on your academics, and this is also a exciting journey, like learning from your faults and also experience it. So, Dada, you have maintained a great SGPA in also in Jadavpur also, and in your masters and PhD program. So, can you share a little bit that, like, I am also a undergraduate student in and the participants are also doing engineering. So, how to maintain a good SGPA?
I mean, there is no, I can't say you steps to follow to do um, get good SGPA. So being good in academia or being very good in your fundamentals are proportional to your SGPA, but it doesn't really always establish or manifest the fact that if you are the topper of the batch, you are the most intelligent of your batch. Okay, I don't believe that, because even if I topped my batch, still believe that in our batch I have friends who were much more smarter than me. So basically, I would suggest that, of course, if somebody tells you that you don't need good SGPA or CGPA, whatever, that's a rumor. Don't believe in it. You need it. You need a good CGPA or SGPA at the end of the day, because that proves your consistency, or that proves your rigor, that you are serious about your studies. Okay. So I believe that, in our batch, in an average, everybody is smart. Now it depends on how much effort everybody puts into your studies, right? And your CGPA or SGPA is proportional to the effort that you put. And you all will agree with me that getting a good CGPA in JU is not that super difficult. Okay. How the exam questions are, comes from the teachers, whatever is taught in the class. It doesn't come from out of the blue sky. So there is a huge stark difference between the exams that happens in JU and in IIT or ISC systems. So if I'm very sure some of you at least will pursue higher studies in India, you will go to IIT ISC system, you will find that the exam system is very different. And getting a 10 out of 10 took at least 100 times more effort than getting a 9 pointer in JU. So I would be very honest here that in Jadavpur University, it's not the case that I used to study every time, and always I only studied and I didn't do anything. I did 100 other things in Jadavpur University, as many of you are doing, right? I stayed in Jadavpur main hostel, so you can imagine how much time I spent, chatting with my friends, doing other stuffs. I was in mess committee, I was in cultural committee, I was in reunion committee, I was in reunion committee of my department, I was in anti-ragging committee. I was doing morning and evening private tuitions in Kolkata, and I was doing 100 other things. So it's not that, I JU really taught me uh, to become proficient in every aspect of life. It's not about only studying, and you all will agree with that. So even playing football in the Jadavpur playground teaches you a lot: how to interact with friends, how to make friends, how to, staying in Jadavpur main hostel, I learned how to share things with others. So like, these are the basic aspects of life that JU teaches. So yeah, getting, I would really differentiate getting a good SGPA in JU and my IIT experience here. So getting a good SGPA or CGPA in JU was just, being attentive in classes. So here I think I need to mention that I was the class representative of my batch for 4 years. So I had to organize classes. As you can imagine that, most of my friends will be playing football, and the professor will call me and tell that, okay, bring everyone in the class. So that was the kind of situation. But it doesn't mean that my friends who were playing football were less smarter than me. So they were probably more smarter than me. They didn't even needed to attend the classes. But Getting good SGPA is basically being consistent in your classes, just studying whatever your teachers or whatever your professors are teaching you, which will automatically enable you to get a good CGPA or SGPA. But I mean, here I would try to point out the fact that that's not enough. Please pick a good textbook on a subject that you like and that you want to pursue in your future, um, future subject. Please pick a good textbook, read it from cover to cover. And when you are reading the book, forget about your CGPA, SGPA. It doesn't matter whatever marks you get. But your fundamentals, if you want to make your fundamentals strong, read a good textbook. Solve problems outside your class notes. Uh, Forget about your SGPA at that point. Just think about the fact that you want to learn the subject, you want to make your fundamentals strong, which will help you in interviews later on after your BTech, which will help you to get a good position in IIT, ISC. Even if you have a less get score in a GATE exam, because this is another myth that the GATE is the all in all exam in your life, and if you fail in that exam you just can't do anything. It's bullshit. Okay, I mean, I always, in civil engineering, I don't know about mechanical engineering complete curriculum, but in civil engineering we had at least 50% of the subjects that I didn't like. I never studied those subjects. And I mean, I'm not telling that you should not study those subjects, because there were people who were very much interested in those subjects, but I was not. And personally I couldn't study those subjects with much interest, because I didn't like it. So my gate score was not that good, because in your 100 marks in your gate score, you will get, of course, questions from those subjects which I have not studied. So I appeared for gate two times, and I every time got a rank of 1000. And I'm not ashamed of it, because I knew that some of the subjects that I didn't study. So GATE was not an exam for me, because GATE is not specific on the subjects that you like, right? GATE is 100% all total subjects. So if you have to really get a very good GATE score within 50, within 100, you have to, even without your interest, you have to mug up some subjects, which I was not ready to do. So I didn't get a good gate score, but it didn't stop my career at any point. So, but at some point, if you want to do MTech from ISC, you need a good gate score. Then you really have to sacrifice with your, I mean, forget about with the interest and mug up some things which comes into gate. So it's basically, it's all depends on the path that you want to choose. Okay. So as I said, that even after getting 1000 rank, nobody stopped me getting a direct PhD in IIT Madras, because the direct PhD happened through written and interview. So there they tested your fundamental knowledge on the subject that you want to do PhD. Even in ISC, if you want to do MSc research, you really don't need to be within 10 or within 15 get. Okay. So
Okay.
all these competitive exams that happen that tests your knowledge in 3 hours is, I feel, it's like a gamble. So within that 3 hours, whether you did give good or not, it cannot judge your overall knowledge of the subject that you have or that you have gained throughout the years. But if you have just made yourself full, you didn't study anything throughout the 4th years, then you are in big trouble. So then you won't get a good get score even in get. And if you go to interview, if you want to get a position through your interview or written with your subject knowledge, then you get screwed there. So be careful about that. But I mean, it's always a good idea to keep yourself safe, trying to mug up some subjects that even you don't like, but just to get a good get score. But I couldn't do it. So as I said, so these kind of competitive exams are there. If you do good, do very good get score, automatically you have multiple options, like getting a job in PSU, getting into MTech programs. But if if you basically are focused on research, the way I was in, uh, I would say that there are other opportunities other than MTechs. So please consider MSc research or MTech research options in IIT and ISC if you want to pursue in India. Or of course, you have other options of going to US, going applying for different fellowships in Europe, in UK. So those are other options. Yeah, so I wanted to tell that forget about SGPA when you are studying for the subject, but please keep the matter of SGPA in mind when you are studying for the semester. So these two are different things. Getting a good SGPA is a different way of studying. You have to study the class notes well, you have to study the subjects which are taught in class well, but that's not all and everything. If you want to study the subject, you have to study a good book cover to cover, that we learned in IIT. Because in IITs, getting a good score was not about class notes or anything, because the exams were open ended. So there were, most of the exams were take home. So the professor will give you a open ended research question, and you are allowed to use all the books, internets, everything that you can, but you have to solve it. So because it was an open ended research question, it doesn't matter even if you have the textbook with you. You have to really understand the concept, apply your knowledge, and solve the problem. So there, it was really difficult. uh, you had to really understand the subject, and that kind of focus was there, particularly in IIT Madras, the courses that I've done. So those two, those two aspects are very different. But having a good subject knowledge always proves your metal in the subject in everywhere, like if you go for interview, if you go for any other aspect. Yeah, I think I spoke a lot, but hopefully it's
That's
helped.
yes, that's totally fine. One request for the participants: you may ask your question. You may put down your question in the chat box. We will take it at the end of the session. So, Dada, we can see that many students are changing their background from a core engineering department towards IT sector, like programming and all. What do you feel about it?
I mean, as I said, it's all about your own interest, but the real fact is that when you are taking the decision, how much knowledge of that subject you have. Whether, so I'm part of an NGO where we mentor uh, students from high school in very remote villages in West Bengal. So we mentored them throughout the class 11th and 12th, and then give them career guidance on which courses, whether medical, engineering, nursing, whatever, which courses suits them the best. But then what we understand is that this kind of decision is mostly, at people who live in Kolkata, proper Kolkata, they have way more guidance. But there are people who are coming from towns, who doesn't have much more guidance, and people like me who really didn't know what we are going to study. They are mostly uh, getting biased by the suggestions they get, that may come from their private tutors, that may come from their, some of the people they know in their area who have studied engineering, that may come from their relatives, etc., etc. So this is one aspect that I think people need to rethink and discuss before deciding. But if somebody is interested in computer science, I think it's best to go into computer science and IT. I still feel that computer science is a subject which which is changing every day, and which is the best subject to pursue your research, because you have thousand and thousand of open research questions that is coming every day. Today chat GPT came, then next day it's going to develop to a next version, so it's all open and unknown. So every day people are doing research. So computer science or programming, I mean, programming is a tool, so I don't consider programming as a subject. Computer science as a subject is very dynamic, it's changing. So if people are, even after studying mechanical, if they are going to, mold their career towards computer science based on futuristic computer science tools, it's way better. Because even the aerospace engineering we do, I am expertised in computational fluid dynamics. Our bread and butter is computer language and computer programming, right? When we develop a solver that solves Navier-Stokes equation, no, it needs the knowledge of computer science. And nowadays the buzzword is, data driven. Buzzwords is ML, AI, and those are, again, it's a sad thing to see that people are running after this, even understanding the difference between ML and AI. But it's proven, there are research going on that machine learning tools can accelerate even computational fluid dynamics. So we have to learn all this development in computer science and programming. So at whichever subject you study, even you study civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, at some point you have to learn programming. You have to apply programming in your subject. You have to learn different computer science tools such as numerical toolbox, optimization tools, and use in your research. So um, but I didn't really understand your question that people are moving to programming. What do you mean? At what stage they're
Like
moving to programming?
like for job preference, we can see that the students after the completion of 4 years of BTech degree, they are moving towards the IT sectors. Not like think
The
I am
ground
a
truth is
mechanic.
that they're not getting a good core job. That's why
Yes,
they're going to IT.
that's the
That's
fact.
not ground truth. And but I still feel that there are a couple of students who are genuinely interested in IT jobs, or who are genuinely interested in computer science. They are going to do the job. It's way better for them if they decide, if they get to know that about 4 years they're more
Yes.
interested in computer science. But if you are going to take an IT job just because you are not getting a good core jobs, of course at some point you will change your job, because you yourself will understand that you are not satisfied in that job. All right. So that's one reason. I think at the end of the fourth year, you have to decide which is the best career option for you, right? So I think after thinking all the aspects, only people are deciding to go to IT job. But I mean, I have friends in ITs who have like settled in IT, doing for 10 years they're doing IT jobs. It's good. They have learned the way of working, they're liking their job profile, that's all better. But I also have friends who worked in IT and then didn't like it, then they changed and ultimately they came back to core jobs, or they pursued higher studies. There are many different career options. I mean, I know even people from Jadavpur University, studying engineering, they ended up becoming musicians, right? So as I said, I mean, it it is only your foundation blocks that you are studying mechanical engineering, but then the whole world is ahead of you. You can choose your career, develop yourself, learn the skills, become expert of a subject, and change your career at any point of time.
Okay, Dada. So we got to know that you have intern. You was an intern in FOSI in IIT Bombay. So can you just share your experience in that internship program, or
I
how?
was not an intern. I'm an advisor of that FOSI project. I'm an external advisor of the FOSI project.
Okay.
So, do you know the full form of FOSI?
Uh, Actually, we I don't know.
So before asking the question, you should at least know the full form of the project, right? So the project is free and open source software and engineering. So it's a project funded by DST, Department of Science and Technology of Indian government. And the PI of the project is Professor Kannan, from the Chemical Engineering IIT Bombay. So this is not I mean, I am actually part of a small portion of the project, which is open form. It's a CFD solver, as many of you know. And I basically mentor interns and the students that go work as a summer fellow in the FOSSI project with Professor Janani Muralidharan, who is a faculty in IIT Bombay. So we both, and there are other faculties, we look into the students who work with OpenFOAM. But this project is all about many other open source tools like Python is one of them, and different GIS open source tools, etc. But I'm mostly I'm the external advisor of Open Foam team of FOSI. Yeah. But do you have any
Okay,
specific about experience?
No, no, actually.
okay, Dada. I have a question that do you have any plan to come back to India and and join any organization for any research organization, or any plan to join as a professor in India?
I mean, yes, I have. I mean, I just joined in University of Birmingham just 6 months back. So just basically, just to give, I mean, now it was part of my slides, but anyway, I'm talking about it. So after graduating from, I mean, after doing my masters and PhD in IIT Madras, I was in Belgium in the University of Liège, and I did my first postdoc with my fellowship, own fellowship. That means we wrote a project to the Belgian government and it got funded. And I worked with Professor Gregorius Dimitriadis there. Again, I mean, this is too early for you guys, but then again, this is an example on how you want to become ambitious, right? This is the story on how I connect with Professor Gregorius Dimitriadis. So when I was doing my PhD in aerospace engineering in IIT Madras, I basically read the textbook of written by Professor Gregorius Dimitriadis on nonlinear aeroelasticity. And I had the lecture notes. I contacted him back then and had his lecture notes, which he used to teach in University of Liège, and which I studied during my coursework. So I liked it very much, and I always had a wish to work with him. So when I was applying for postdoc, I wrote to him that, do you have any opportunities for me to work with you? He told, well, I'm happy with your profile. So I sent my published papers, etc. And then he told, but I don't have money. So if you are agreeing to write a proposal for funding, I'm okay to support you. And at that point, we wrote a project proposal to Belgian government, and then I got the fellowship. So this is where you need that inner wish and the courage to pursue it. I mean, I never knew that he will be agreeing to, allow me to work with him, but he was happy, and I ended up working with him, and I still work with him. And he is like kind of, apart from my PhD advisor outside, he is the great mentor that I have for life. And then after working there for many personal reason, I decided to move to UK. And in Edinburgh, I got a chance to work in a European Research Council project, leading that as a senior postdoc with Professor Ignacio Mario Valla. And then from there, I actually have not applied to any Indian institution, to answer your question, yet. But it doesn't mean that I will not apply. So I've just joined University of Birmingham for 6 months. I'm exploring my uh, life as a professor here in UK. If I don't like, I may go back to India. I may go to US. I may go to any other country. So it's too early for me. I just started my career. I have at least 30-35 years ahead. So I mean, I can do anything. I don't have any answer to your question at this point.
Okay, Dada, do you have any special moment at Jadavpur University that you can share with us that
Oh,
reminds you of that time being a student of
yeah,
Jadavpur
I have
University?
many. I mean, many. As I said, my whole life as an engineer, life as a researcher started in Jadavpur. So I have hundreds of such experience in Jadavpur main hostel and in my department. But I think one memory I always share to everybody, that I had a roommate, Saurabh Ghosh. He was from Jadavpur history department, and he's now in University of California, Berkeley, doing research in Indian history. So he was, that time he was my senior in my room. I used to live in A2 block, and he was my senior in my room. And basically, we developed a very very good relationship. So in my batch, particularly 2009 to 2013 civil engineering batch, we had many students living in hostel. So we had a big group in Jadavpur main hostel, and and I think in our previous batch also, so 2012 batch also. But before me, in my hostel, so it's basically, I'm not doing self promotions, but I'm just telling because this is indeed the memory that I always share with everybody. So before me, there was like nobody in Jadavpur main hostel topped any department in JU. So basically, when I still remember that in my second year, first sem, I guess, when I actually topped the exam in JU semester, he basically brought sweets for the whole block and distributed to every room. So that was like a memory that motivated me and made me really blessed that I have such seniors in JU. And I'm basically sharing this moment more because with all the unfortunate incidents that happened recently, there are always people who really are very close to you. And you know it's basically, it's not all about ragging. There are way beyond much more things in hostel that get cheered up, and we had seniors that we had bonding for lifetime. So anyway, so basically that was one of my moments. And following that, there was like one day, one of my professor, who is very close professor, but at that point in the class, remarked that all the students in the hostel are like useless. They don't, they are not good at studies. They just have supplementaries, they take weeds, etc., etc. Which basically was, I took it personally because I was very much into Jadavpur main hostel and representing it. So I stood in the class and asked him, do you know me? um, he told, yes, I know you. I mean, I know you. You topped the exam, etc., etc. And then I told him that, do you know that I live in Jadavpur main hostel? And he had no idea that I lived in the hostel. So that was a moment I still remember. And the professor, I won't take the name. He is very close even now. So basically, that's the thing. So basically, it's these kind of stigmas are are not good. So there are people everywhere. We have friends everywhere. But with the recent unfortunate events, I want to give the message that don't discriminate anybody who lives in hostel. Don't mark them that they are, they are criminals. Of course, unfortunate events happens, but and we all want sheer justice for it. But it doesn't mean that everybody is like that. Every one of in JU is equally smart. That is what I believe till now.
Okay.
So, Dada, we have some participants here. We have collected some questions from them for you. So, can we proceed?
Sure, sure. Whatever you feel okay. I'm okay with everything.
Nilendu, please.
Dada, so Devakar Roy has asked that placement scenario in private sectors for civil engineers in JU as well as IITs. Can you compare between these?
Well, I mean, so are you asking for BTechs or particularly for MTechs?
He's asking for MTech particularly.
Okay, so I think, of course, there is no doubt that the placement scenario of MTech in IIT is okay. MTech IIT and BTech JEE. Um, I would say that things have changed. I mean, whatever I follow the scenario during my time, which was 2013, I graduated BTech. If you see the placement scenario of Jadavpur as a BTech, of course, it varies very much with department. But if I keep civil and mechanical in mind, uh, and then I basically will say that the salary or the placement package that is received by a bachelor students in Jadavpur is way lesser than the package that an MTech student used to get after IIT MTech. Because the companies, there are, I mean, my experience was that there are many companies such as GE Electrics, Boeing, Airbus. I mean, if you think about aerospace engineering, or a few other PSUs which basically didn't recruit, didn't come in JU in our time, but used to come in IIT MTechs. But nowadays, what I am hearing from my juniors, that even the placement scenario for IIT MTechs is not as good as it was before. So basically, the placement scenario has moved more, have geared towards IIT BTechs. So basically, IIT BTech MTechs get very good packages, very good companies, but IIT MTech, the placement scenario has, in my opinion, has been gone down compared to the what it was in our time, particularly post COVID. Things for MTech students are not good. I know many of my known, they have moved from core to, finance or data science or different other companies, because particularly the core companies recruitment has been reduced significantly. That's my idea. But I mean, someone who is recently in IIT will be able to give you a better, accurate idea.
Okay, thank you for the answer. I hope your doubt has been cleared. Next question is from Subhajit Bardhan. Please tell us about future aspects of aerospace engineering and effect of artificial intelligence in aerospace engineering. Will it be inevitable for an aerospace engineer to build a foundation on computer science for deep research? Can you answer it?
I mean, both are two different questions. So first question, I think, the career option of aerospace engineering. So I
Yes.
would say that, I mean, because, I mean, it depends. I mean, in JU, I know that there is no dedicated aerospace engineering department. So I assume that you are either moving from civil or mechanical to the aerospace career. So in that case, I would say that having a master's in aerospace engineering would really help to get good companies in, if you want to go to industry. So that is one option, that of course you do a MTech in aerospace engineering in, and you specialized on either aerodynamics or aerostructure or propulsion, and then you apply to those specific companies. They will be like very much happy to take you from IIT. So that's one career option, that you build up your profile, specialize into particular subject areas, and then go to, I want to do research in so then go to industry. Now if you want to focus on research, all right, so in that case there are multiple options, and those options are very much similar to not only aerospace engineering but even mechanical or civil, whatever you want to do. So if you are very much focused and you already know the specialized area that you want to do your higher study or research, so by research I mean that at least you want to do PhD. All right. So if you already have that specified idea, you can apply for direct PhDs. There are direct PhD options in India, even in abroad. And I am very much assured that you are already working towards that. If you want to go to US, you have to really, do some good research project on that subject and get your subject knowledge. Then of course you have to have GRE, etc., to apply to a good university to get a direct MS PhD program and pursue your research. Apart from that, you can also do masters, like in programs like Erasmus Mundus or different other fellowships like in TU Delft. I know some of your seniors are doing masters in TU Delft. So TU Delft has specific international funded masters program, and aerospace engineering in TU Delft is one of the best in the world. And also there are Erasmus Mundus programs which allows you to do masters in multiple universities in Europe. Even in UK there are fellowships like Commonwealth fellowships, etc., which allows you to come and do funded masters in UK. And then you decide, I mean, during the masters you developed your specialization in which area you want to do PhD in, and then you apply for PhD with a funded position in. And every country has different scholarships, different sponsored projects going on which funds your PhD program, etc. All right. And it's like it's a bit complicated because it differs from each country to country. So you have to also decide which country you want to pursue your research in aerospace. If it is America, it's going into a particular program such as Georgia Tech or Illinois, UIUC or Purdue is a different path. If you want to come to Birmingham or TU Delft in Europe, that's a different path. So I think we should have a one-to-one discussion if you have any specific question towards specific country. For example, if you want to come and do PhD with me in Birmingham, we have a fellowship application every year comes, which is very competitive for international students. But every year the fellowship applications comes, and if you get the fellowship, you can get full funding to PhD with me. So this differs, and this PhD funding is also very much relative to each faculty. So it is a good idea to identify the faculties that you want to work in that specialized area, and then inquire to them whether what kind of opportunities they have, and whether they need first the masters then PhD, or they are also happy to take direct PhDs from your BTech. But there is a I mean, you should take this direct PhD with a pinch of salt, because uh, if you want to go to directly to a PhD program, that means you are already deciding your career, and it's like a pyramid structure. The more and more you get specialized, you have less flexibility to diversify. All right. So after BTech, I don't think majority of you have that clarity on what specific specialized area you want to be the master of it. All right. So in that case, if you have but some people in my, even in my batch or my juniors, were very focused. They had guidance, they had their siblings studying abroad, or they have friends, so they were very focused, they knew it, so for them it's fine. But people like me, who didn't have much awareness, if I would have wanted to like jumped into concrete technology in civil engineering just because I was in civil engineering, it would have been a disaster, because I might not have liked the area after that. So in that case, it's always advised to take a master's in India. It's like 2 years masters, and particularly if you want to do PhD, if you take this kind of masters, research based masters program, you get to spend, do some more courses, get to do project, and then you can build that liking towards a specialized subject, and then decide where to do PhD. So that's it's a very common thing, and nothing specific to aerospace engineering. Any subject, you need to develop that idea on which particular area you want to do PhD on. It's not like undergrad project, okay, that everybody is going to that professor doing something like that, let's go, I'll also do something like that. PhD is a long term commitment, so you need to really like the subject, then only you will be able to do really good in your PhD. If you lose interest, it will be a disaster for your career. So take your time before you jump into such kind of decision.
Thank you, Dada. I think your doubt has been cleared, Subhajit Vardhan. Dada also has mentioned about the aspects and what you should do for PhD and research at all. So, participants, how are you feeling after attending this session? Like we have got uh, him as our senior, as our guide also. He has shared his live experience. So what are you feeling? You can share us in the chat box. You can give thumbs up, uploads, what you want. Okay, thank you, Dada, for giving us time. ISHRAE, which really very much obliged that you gave us your precious time. It is really a very much good session for us that we've got you. And the special moment is that you told us about the hostel life and the fact that recently we have faced. Thank you for this, for supporting us. So
Yeah, that's fine. I'm always there. If you have any specific queries, you can email me. I'm just writing my email ID. I can't promise that you will get an immediate reply because I'm very busy, but I will try to answer at some point. So feel free to ask me if you have any specific doubt through email. Um, yeah.
thanks a lot, Dada. I think he is also, being a senior, he is also our guide for, he can help us to for advising our further studies in MTech or PhD level, being an advisor. So thank you. So thank you so much, Dada.
Yeah, so I think I actually can I share my screen? I wanted to just tell you what I do, what I work on, and probably if some of you are interested, you can ask me about specific things like that. So if it's okay, I can share my screen to show something.
Yes, Dada, it's all up
Okay,
to you.
definitely. Let me.
Can you see my slides?
Yes, Dada, they are visible.
Right. Okay. So basically, this is my lab, which is bio-inspired fluid structure interaction research group that I actually established in University of Birmingham Aerospace Engineering, and I mostly actually work in the broad umbrella within the broad umbrella of fluid structure interaction. But my previous track record is to understand aerodynamics and fluid structure interaction of small flyers. So you might look into my published papers to go into details. And yeah, I mean, I thought that I'm going to share some. I'm going to present. So anyway, so this is some of the pictures. The first pictures in the left hand side is my from my freshers days in 2009, and this was my group mates. And this is some of the moments on how we used to study during semesters in our Jadavpur main hostel. um, I have already told all of this. So just to give you a broad overview on what I worked on in my research. So basically in University of Edinburgh, I was leading the project Dandy Drone. So this project is actually is to build micro drones based on the seed dandelion, as you can see in the in your left or right, whatever the picture. It's a seed which has a umbrella kind of structure, which with a porous pappus and the seed which hangs below. So the center of buoyancy and the center of mass is different, and it has a porous umbrella kind of structure which plays a great role in its propulsion. Okay. So basically I was studying the physics of it, how it flies through computational fluid dynamics simulations and experiments, and then we are currently designing micro drones based on it. And in Liège, basically it was my independent fellowship to, so basically I did multiple projects, but the main project that was my focus of fellowship was to design futuristic bio-inspired wind turbine blades based on the tubercles and modulating leading edge of humpback whale flipper. And in IIT Madras, as I already said, that my PhD thesis was based on flapping wing aerodynamics and to build micro flexible wing micro aerial vehicles for environmental monitoring and defense. And currently, as I said, my research group is fluid bio-inspired fluid structure interaction research group, and this is the current focus of my group for next 3 to 5 years, which is applied fluid structure interaction. And I will keep on working on environmental monitoring using bio-inspired drones. I will also be working with aeronautical industries, designing futuristic morphing aircrafts, and I will also focus on some problems on biomedical applications such as vocal fold flutter and abnormality in voice production, and other biomedical stuff such as nasal airflow, etc. So these are kind of the major focus that I wanted to show you. So if some of you are interested in these areas and maybe uh, want to do some serious internship, research internship, you can approach to me. But I have to tell you that unfortunately I have very bad experience with JU students approaching me. So and it's an unfortunate thing that they really just wanted a letter of recommendation and not to do the project. So if you intend to do that, please don't approach me, because I can't write flashy things in letter of recommendation unless you actually do that. So if you want to do serious research project, you are interested in fluid mechanics, CFD simulations, approach me. I will discuss with you personally, and we will see if that is the best thing that suits to you, and it's also suits my group's intention or motive or future directions. Well, so basically, as I said, that this was one of the basic area I worked in my PhD, which was active flapping flight. And the major discovery from my thesis was to reveal the chaotic footprints in a symmetrically flapping wing. And it is at the intersection of nonlinear dynamics and unsteady aerodynamics and fluid structure interaction. So it's a bit involved in terms of physics. We dealt with different bifurcation route to chaos and how it impacts the aerodynamic loads that is generated by a flapping wing. And my postdoc, I focused on the complementary part, which is passive flight. So as I said, these dandelion seeds, as you can see, they can undergo long distance dispersals, and we tried to understand how do they do that, and how do they respond with respect to the gust and turbulence which are around them. And we are applying those knowledge into the design of micro drones, which is called dandy drone. And basically the idea is to actually monitor the environmental matrix in remote areas where human cannot access in a volumetric sense. So it will be a swarm of dandy drones which will be transferring the data to us online while they fly passively without any power, scavenging energy from the surrounding turbulent environment. All right, so this is in general some of the areas that I worked on. And yeah, I mean, basically we are also doing experiments with different type of more prototypes with a moving wind tunnel to to understand the effect of the gust uh, on the dispersal of the seeds. And you can see this gives you an idea on how how the experiments are done, such as, so basically a flying dandelion goes up, and when the gust actually appears, it goes up, and which keeps it afloat for longer time. So that is the hypothesis that we have proved numerically also, that this kind of dandelions scavenge energy from the surrounding turbulence. And we are applying this knowledge into the design of real micro drones. With this was just a brief overview that I wanted to, because it becomes incomplete if you don't know what I work on. And this is basically my research group, and I've given you my email ID. If you are interested, you can approach to me for general guidance, or even if you want to work do serious research project with me. So again, with that, I really thank you all for attending this session and giving me the opportunity to interact with you. Yeah, that's all from my side.
Thank you, Dada, for attending this session. Actually, we are also pleased that you shared a lot of your expertise with us. I definitely think that some of our JU students will really approach you, and hopefully you will help them. So I think we will meet again for another interesting session if you have time also. So thank you for the session.
All right. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas. Good night,
Night.
brother.
Good night, brother.
Nice
Yes.
to meet you all. Advance Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year, brother.
So I'm leaving the session. Okay. Bye.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, I'm audible. Okay, Taposh, you were asked to lead the meeting. I think you're not audible. You are audible?
হ্যাঁ, audible.
Okay, আমি কাউকে শুনতে পাচ্ছি না। Sorry, sorry. I think শুনতে পাচ্ছি এখন। Cool, cool. আমার এমনি হ্যাঁ, এরা সবাই ওসি। আচ্ছা, ঈশ্বর জিও আইডি থেকে কি জয়েন করে আছে? একটু বলতো। ওকে, ওকে। তুই কি রেকর্ড করেছিস? ওকে, কুল। ঠিক আছে। ওকে।
খুব ভালো সেশন হয়েছিল নীলেন্দু আর সায়ন।